Good evening.
It's the history of the Tottenham.
I'm sorry it didn't cost 55 million, so it cannot be good.
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Some of the passing is fucking scratchy.
We are in Champions League, man. Dilly din, dilly dong, come on.
Sit down! Nobody talk! Sit down!
He's 24 years old. For me, if he's not got it now, when is he going to get it?
And I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together.
Hello, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Armchair Managers podcast. I'm here with Z and some very special guests today. Say hi, everyone.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hello, hey guys.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, so I've got some very special guests with me today. First off, we've got a Juventus fan who's coming from Dubai. He's been supporting Juventus since 2004. And he's such a big fan that in the early days, he used to listen to them on the radio in Italian, not understanding what the fuck is going on, and fell in love with the club. Here we have with us is Amro. Say hi.
Hi, Sibius. Thanks for having us.
No worries. And you can follow Amro on at Amro Insta on his Instagram. We also have with us today an Inter Milan fan. He's been supporting the club since 2006. He has been a huge fan of Luis Figo even after he left. Welcome, Samara.
Hello, everyone.
All right, Z, and you've got your best mate with you. Who's that?
Yeah, and I've got the current president of Barca Dallas, my friend who's been supporting the Barcelona club for about, how long has it been now?
I've been following Barcelona since 2002 when things weren't good, but then I fell in love with Ronaldinho. That was the start.
And he's brought his fandom to new heights over here in Dallas, Texas, where he resides. And you can find him on at Trishal Varma on Instagram. And he also posts regularly on Twitter at FCBarcelona.org. My good friend, Trishal Varma.
Thank you for having me, Z.
So, hey guys, today it's been an interesting weekend of European football. Let's have a look at who's now qualified for the quarterfinals of the Europa League. We've got Inter Milan and Leverkusen happening tomorrow. We also have Manchester United playing Copenhagen. Shakhtar Donetsk is playing Basel. And Wolves is playing Sevilla. Meanwhile, in the Champions League, Atalanta will play Paris, as scheduled before. RB Leipzig is playing Atletico Madrid. Barcelona will be playing Bayern, and Man City have advanced to play Lyon. But before we get into that, let's talk about what's happening around Serie A. So we have with us Samara. As I mentioned, he's a big Inter Milan fan. Samara, your club, you guys have finished second in the table with Antonio Conte. It's been very, very tight at the top. You missed out by, I think it is 1 point. How do you feel about what's going on?
It was actually it was a very big surprise for us. The post-Corona shift in Juventus performance and the different teams, and even Lazio fell out of the picture. Having a new coach, big signings. We thought at the beginning of the season we were ending first, but then Juventus took the lead, and we had several challenges with the smaller teams where we end losing, for example, Bologna, or having a last-minute goal by other teams because of a mistake. But finishing 1 point compared to the last 7 years or 8 years is something big, counts as points for Conte, even though he is blamed by many fans on his mentality, mindset on how he chooses the players and gives them time over other players. But overall, I'm very happy this year. Looking forward for a very competitive year with another year where Champions League is there. Hopefully the fans will be on the side for the team.
Yeah, that's right. You guys are still in Europe. And I mean, as our listeners know, me and Zaran are Premier League fans supporting both Arsenal and Manchester United. It was very curious for us to see that Inter had signed so many ex-Premier League players this season. So you've had the likes of Romelu Lukaku, Eriksen. Sanchez is now notably going to be joining Inter permanently.
Let's not forget Ballon d'Or winner Ashley Young. Please show some respect.
I knew I was forgetting someone.
The new Maicon, Zanetti combined.
Exactly.
So, Samara, how have these signings been for Inter so far?
Actually, most of the signings, if not all, were very good for Inter, and very good return on the fight Conte had with, as he claimed, he suffered a lot to convince and get Lukaku. Big win also for Inter for cutting Sanchez's salary by half and taking him for free from Manchester United. It was like a good walk in Manchester United, picking up the players they don't want. And then they exploded in Inter. Sanchez had a rough season, was out, received a red card, injury. But then, for some reason, he got his youth back, like Ashley Young. Ashley Young was involved in Inter's Milan's goals and assists more than any other player after Corona. So I guess he had a good break.
Yeah, I mean, Corona is still here, but it is the pandemic we're still suffering from. And yeah, I think with Sanchez, like, I don't ever doubt that his talent like just magically disappeared. I just think he needs to be put in the right system to properly exploit what he can do.
Honestly, I think with a player like Alexis, we saw some of the best of him, like, you know, at your club, Arsenal, as well as Trishal's at Barcelona. But the issue that happened at Manchester was more so the wage structure was completely it was diluted, it was outrageous, and he came into a club where there was a different project going on that didn't quite suit him, and it wouldn't really rely on his creative talents. And we didn't really know how to use the best of him, especially Jose Mourinho. The system he uses, he wants more of a Ivan Perisic kind of winger, you know, someone who's going to drop back and do much more defensively, spread the game. But Sanchez is the kind of player he likes to pick up the ball deep, run at defenders, get many touches on the ball, and express himself. And he also needs to feel loved. I don't think he ever got the opportunity to feel the affection of the fans at Manchester United, but I believe he's getting more so of that at Inter Milan for sure.
I think having the wages that he had at Manchester United, they expected to do a lot for what he was being paid, and then he just wasn't able to in that system, like you said. He wasn't able to play that well.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be that pressure of whether it's a big transfer fee or high wage demands that comes with any player joining a club for the first time. And I mean, I could also say in the case of United, you know, if Mourinho's project was to kind of build a more team that's defensive, that's going to be hardworking in the midfield as well, Sanchez being in his prime, like, that's not what you want him to do exactly. But also, I want to talk about Christian Eriksen, who's moved from Tottenham to Inter. Just to move it back to Samara here. Honestly, I think he's shown some quality. Like, I watched the game against Getafe, and he scored within about 2 minutes of coming on. How would you rate his season, Samara, at 10?
So just to add more on the points you were saying, he actually struggled at the beginning of the signing, but I think it was a very smart move financially and also strategically from the Inter transfer team, where Eriksen can be sold now since he has a 5 years contract for triple or more if he shines for 6 months. There's also lack of trust, I believe, or maybe communication between Eriksen and the other players. If he starts, he dies by the beginning of the first half. He's confused when to go back. I think the combination or the mindset Inter Milan has been having for the last 3 years and is still going, that we start everything from Handanovic. If we have a difficulty, we go back to Handanovic, the other side. And we're very good at it so far. And Barcelona struggled a lot with Inter Milan in terms of these back passes, going around, trying to find a loophole. But if I would rate Eriksen, I would say it's a 7.5 to 8 max. I think he can provide more if he's given the opportunity. And once the fans trust him, Conte stops depending on old players just because they're Italians or he likes them personally, he would fit in. Hopefully the summer break would be a good time. Hopefully more goals in the next few matches leading to the final. Hopefully lifting that trophy. Yeah, I would say 7.5 to 8 max, CB.
Not bad at all. And regarding the transfer window this summer, like, what kind of players do you see moving in and moving out?
I mean, there's that big elephant in the room. Messi last year, Messi this year. I really don't think so, especially Barcelona's, let's say, lockers are very nasty. They're full of rumors, problems. I think he would force the management to clean their shit, and either he would leave to a cleaner team in terms of what's happening behind at the management. In terms of other names, I mean, Ashraf Hakimi, it's a done deal.
Oh, really? That's confirmed, right?
Yeah, Hakimi is confirmed.
I think it was confirmed since the rumors are, yeah, he's confirmed, but to join next season. We've been struggling with that position for a while, since both Mike and Zanetti left. It's been like 10 years of
a decade
struggling in that position.
I mean, but Zanetti was irreplaceable in his own respect.
Yes.
One hell of a player.
He was everywhere. He plays everywhere, even goalkeeper if needed.
Yeah, proper captain.
Yeah, we had some names that came and had high expectations, young people, but none of them fit. And even now, Biragi plays one good match, then disappears for 3. We have Asamoah, even though Conte doesn't do the 4-2-2 or anything 4, he doesn't start with 4s at all. He has to have 3 players in the back, which dropped Skriniar's price by half because he can't keep up with that kind of defense. So yes, we have Ashraf Hakimi and Messi's rumors were flying over the roof since apparently his dad bought an apartment in Milan and he's speaking to
it's just a holiday home.
That's how it starts.
There's always been that speculation of like, oh, this player's been shopping for a house here, or his dad followed me on Instagram, therefore he's
Yeah, exactly.
I also want to hear from the Serie A winners this year, Juventus and our friend Amro. So, Amro, we've just learned, I think today, in breaking news, that Maurizio Sarri has been sacked from Juventus, and they would be appointing Andrea Pirlo as the replacement manager. You guys obviously dropped out of the Champions League last night. Tell us your thoughts.
So I think sacking Maurizio Sarri is the correct decision. He have been poor all over the season. They've been really poor winning performances. And for a Juve fan, we're not used to winning this way. So I do back up the management in this decision. But what's weird was the quick decision of appointing Andrea Pirlo. So first opinion is I was really excited. Pirlo is one of my favorite players. Of course, he's a World Cup winner. He's a Champions League winner. He won Serie A. Is that really enough for him to guide the team? I mean, this proves nothing in terms of management. Okay, you being skilled on the pitch does not guarantee that you have enough management skills outside of the pitch. That's from one side. From the other side, what keeps me optimistic is that Pirlo have been under Ancelotti. He learned a lot of tactics from the 4-5-1 Christmas tree. On theory, he should be okay. He should pass. But also, it's a 50-50 chance. Like, I can't guarantee his success.
Sorry, do you feel that Sarri was trying to implement the same kind of football that he had at Napoli and then Chelsea as well at Juventus? Or do you think he's tried something different? It was Sarri ball. It was the same tactic, the same approach.
Yes, Z. I think Sarri was trying to implement the same football he implemented at Napoli, but what failed him was the type of players that we have at Juventus. So Sarri's ball is like playing 1-2 and waiting for the third runner, and basically that third runner is not up to speed with the ball or already covered. Most of the team memorized the way we play. They studied us. It's not been effective. He keeps on doing it. It's like hitting with a hammer until something breaks. You look at them while they're playing and you don't understand what formation they're in. So he did try to implement that at Juventus, but it wasn't working for us. So I think it's the correct decision that we let him go.
I just want to say with Andrea Pirlo, it's his first job in management, and he hasn't really coached at any youth level. Whereas in respect to Frank Lampard, even the likes of Solskjaer, Pep Guardiola, Pochettino, all these former players that have gone into managerial careers at the top level, they've at least had some background coaching. Whether it be at youth level or international or at another club in a lesser known league. They've got some experience dealing with a dressing room, the day-to-day kind of challenges of football management, dealing with funding, budgets, finances, transfers, press conferences, and the like. And I trust Pirlo Pirlo's football credits and the legend of a player that he is and the grace that he played the game with, both for Italy, Milan, and Juventus, respectively, it's well known, it's well documented, and everyone has a great deal of respect and admiration for the way that he carried himself as a professional. But I think being a manager is a whole different ball game.
And I've got a question I want to ask Amro about this. If you had just learned today that Sarri was sacked, but you didn't know about Pirlo potentially being the replacement behind the scenes, like, who would you go for personally?
Honestly, Sevi, I think I would go for Pochettino. I really like the way he managed Tottenham and reached the Champions League with them. And since he has the experience to pull out some really nice tactics, I liked his counters. I liked how he has Song on one side, how he has Dele Alli as a playmaker, how he has Eriksen and a striker like Kane. So I think we have somehow the same type of player. Son can be Costa. Of course, there's a big difference between Cristiano and Kane, but you get the point. He's a good finisher. So what I'm trying to say is that the type of players that were under Pochettino actually would be similar to what the Juventus squad has at the moment.
I think football is now based so much on commercial that you have to have something going on every year. Teams have to win. And it was pretty sad to see Sarri get sacked. I think he would have done well if he had more time, because he did get Arthur from Barcelona, a ball-holding midfielder. Would have made a difference for him.
That's another thing. Yeah, sorry, Trish. Just to make a point, Pjanic started the game today for Juventus, and it's been confirmed. I'm sure you're well aware that the Arthur and Pjanic swap deal with Juventus. That's all pen to paper. It's confirmed, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, they've already paid Barcelona, and it's been done.
So basically, Juventus played with a Barcelona man in their midfield.
Correct. Yeah.
Interesting. How do you feel about that, Trishal? I know you were quite fond of Arthur when you first signed him at Barca.
He did have a lot of issues in terms of match fitness. He was only able to play up to 70 minutes, and that was throughout the entire season. He never really, it's that Brazilian mentality, I guess you could say. He was never able to fully complete, so it made us predictable knowing that around second half, Arthur was going to get replaced and Rakitic was going to come on. So we always wasted one substitution on Arthur, and the other one would be a winger, because Griezmann would come out. I definitely think Pjanic would be good because the way Barcelona play, I mean, I don't have too much hopes for him, but with Busquets aging, another 30-year-old player, I think he can hold the ball really well in CDM and make the plays. Same thing Busquets been doing. Doesn't have a lot of defensive duties, but he is literally the key to going forward.
But Sergio Busquets, to his credit, does do a lot of stuff that goes unnoticed in the defensive side of the game.
Yeah,
I think
his positioning.
He makes it look so easy that you don't really notice that he's doing a lot of that dirty work just in a much more kind of composed and calculated way. Like even just the blocking of passing lanes. Do you think Pjanic can kind of meet that standard that Sergio Busquets has set for so many years at Barcelona?
I don't think he can match those standards, but I think he's a good fill-in position for Busquets. Of course, since he is aging, I think we just bought a player to sit on the bench mainly.
So basically a depth signing.
Yeah, definitely. Because Monchu played today, who's a 20-year-old from Barca B, and I think he did well. I think there's a lot of Barcelona B players that are coming back, like Alanya. They're going to be playing ahead of him, and Puig. And De Jong has cemented his place because he was brilliant today. He was everything we were missing from midfield since he was injured.
And Samara, just to bring you into the conversation, with Inter Milan through to the quarterfinal of the Europa League, how do you fancy your chances of, sealing a European trophy or a trophy this season?
I mean, looking at our side of the table, it feels like the final is very approachable. But in terms of the other side, we might be facing Manchester, which is, I believe we've been in a level for a couple of years, and Manchester came back. Like Manchester was still competing in the last 5 years, I would say, like pre-5 years. But I think they're at the same level in terms of where they are in their league and where is Inter is kind of in their league, regardless of the positions. However, we're both trying something so hard, but we keep failing. If I would give a percentage for how much would we get the Europa League, I'd say with the love and hope I have for Inter, I would say like 85 to 90%.
Is that to win the tournament or to reach the final?
No, to win the tournament.
Interesting.
I think it's a plus for Inter that it's a knockout mode where we don't need to like pass for one match and then play one match. So they're playing all out or
World Cup mode.
Yeah.
And Lukaku and Smalling and Sanchez will be up for it.
Smalling played for Roma, Sibi. He's actually out of contract there as well.
Sorry, Ashley Young.
Ashley Young, yes.
Oh, I was going to say, I think in the knockout mode,
You're so
Manchester
generous.
United and Sevilla actually are two teams that Inter should be scared of, depending on how they get there. Sevilla especially, I think Barcelona and Real Madrid had a huge trouble with them this season, playing against them, because they play really well. And they're like the kings of Europa League, 4 in a row.
5 in total.
I think they've won five in total, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched them against Roma, and they looked scary, man.
Yeah, they're a good team when it comes to Europa League. It's like a switch of a button. They're a different team compared to the league.
Yeah.
And then all I can say about Manchester United is, as long as you have Mason Greenwood on your side, you can do anything.
Yeah, our front three has been
see.
quite formidable, especially after lockdown. A lot of goals.
Martial, man.
Yeah,
Martial.
even Rashi will come good as well. Mason's the only one that's 3 or 4 goals shy of 20 this season. The rest I think Martial has 23 now after his goal against Lask, and Rashford's on 22. But I mean, they've got our former man Romelu Lukaku, and what do you think of his impact in his first season in Italy, Samara?
Honestly, I have very mixed feelings about Lukaku.
He comes and goes.
Yeah, he wastes opportunities none of us on this call would waste. I'm not going to go to talk about Gagliardini or Candreva or God sell them this season or the summer. I'm talking about Lukaku, where I would say that we are where we are in the Europa League because of him, in terms of not qualifying, but why we're in the Europa League, not in another cool league in Europe. Yes, it hurts all these years. At least we're playing in it now at the beginning.
Yeah.
He missed opportunities that could have taken Inter to easily securing a difference between Juventus and Inter, easily qualifying to next rounds in UCL. Many opportunities were missed. In terms of getting the synergy, he has the passion. All of the Manchester United we bought, they love Inter more than Manchester.
I wouldn't say that.
Which is like
I think they're bringing
quick love.
I think they're bringing the Manchester United passion to Inter Milan.
Maybe. There's great synergy. He's doing his best, but he has one big problem is when someone plays a pass to me, I don't know how to stop the ball sometimes.
Are you talking about his first touch?
Lukaku's. Yes, his first touch, man, is
got the first touch of an elephant.
Yeah, I mean he's huge.
Going around.
Yeah, he's huge.
There's like Photoshop pictures of him wearing jeans and Timberland boots.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Can imagine.
I think all of you might like this. There's an interesting quote going around in Lukaku's final season at United when he was struggling, and it was Zlatan Ibrahimovic who talked about his final season when he was United. He said we challenged Lukaku that if he could control the first touch and get a few goals off of just controlling the ball in the final third on his first touch, that we'd make a bet. And Zlatan basically said, if you don't get it, then you'll have to give me $20,000 or pounds. And to which Lukaku replied, and what if I do get it? And then Zlatan simply went, yeah, you just be a better player. And then Zlatan finished with, by the way, Lukaku didn't take the bet.
Wow.
So I mean, he has his qualities. He's lacking, I think, overall. As a footballer, he's lacking in certain areas, but as a goal scorer, I think he's undoubtable. He has a proven record.
Yeah, you look at the last match against Getafe, like the goal he scored, not any player will be able to
that's a Lukaku
confuse the defender. That's not even a first touch. He barely touched the ball, and then suddenly it's in the goal. He just ran around.
It's his frame, it's his size, his power, and he can finish the goal in the 6-yard area.
I think you need the Lukaku that was at Everton combined with the Lukaku that's at Inter now, because he was a monster at Everton at a young age. to have that speed with that body, and he's still doing it. His hold up play is brilliant.
He is still with that side. He's quite fast. He's also smart. Sometimes you see an Inter Milan match for like 70, 75 minutes. He's not there.
Yeah.
But he's being more positioning himself in ways where everyone is 2 to 3 defenders are around him. But you, as a spectator, you would say, where the fuck is Lukaku for the last 70 minutes? He didn't touch the ball.
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
you notice that Martinez or Sanchez are getting crazy opportunities because one guy is watching them, or they're able usually, if you notice Martinez and Sanchez specifically, they always cut the ball from the defense when they're passing to each other, which happened also in Getafe's match in the last 15 minutes. He tried to loop it around the goalkeeper, but he missed. But you'll see they're really fast. They're utilizing how most the defenders are focusing on Lukaku's movement, on his size, on his speed.
Absolutely.
Which gives them more
I think which is something that goes undervalued or unnoticed is movement in any team really, especially in the top European leagues. When you have teams that counter the way that Inter Milan do, like if you just stop and watch the movement of the wide players and the midfielders, and especially the striker, like you said with Lukaku, and also Lautaro Martinez makes a lot of kind of drifting, bent, curved runs through the center backs. It's taking defenders out of position and making them watch much more than just the ball. So it absolutely creates a lot more opportunities for any team that likes to play on the counter, like Antonio Conte always loves to do.
Yes, and sometimes works.
Yeah, sometimes, but not always. But I think yeah, Inter has a really exciting project, and long may it continue. I know Amro for sure is looking over his shoulder at what's happening over in Milan. How do you feel about the season that Inter's had, Amro, as a Juventus fan? Are you worried about how they might come challenge for the title next season, considering your new managerial appointment?
Not really, not at all.
Nice and honest.
Yes.
So moving on to the Manchester City and Real Madrid game. Sibi, what were your initial thoughts on this?
Yeah, I watched this game, and honestly, I think this game, and everyone I think noticed this game exposed Rafael Varane. Honestly, like I noticed, for example, the first 10 minutes of the game, Madrid's backline of Varane, Carvajal, Militao, and I'm forgetting the last guy's name. They were passing at the back quite comfortably. But then 15 minutes in or so, you see the likes of Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Jesus pressing very, very high up the pitch with KDB and Gundogan cutting those passing lanes. And that's how they got the first goal. Second half, they're still playing very well. I think the issue they had here in Madrid was because of the width they were playing, it just kind of allowed City to exploit the space in between.
By exposed, do you say that he's past it? He's no longer at the level that everyone assumed he was, or do you think he just had a bad day at the office?
I think it's just a bad day at the office. Honestly, I still think he's a good player. Probably replace that word with exploited. Essentially, yeah. I mean, even for the second goal, like KDB puts a lob ball from the midfield down to Jesus. Varane tries to head it. He misses completely. Then he tries to back pass to the keeper. Jesus intercepts and a one-touch chip finish, and the game's over.
I think there's a world of difference between having Eder and Militao as your center back partner versus having Sergio Ramos.
I think that was their problem. I think Sergio Ramos as a captain, he controls that back line really well. Same with when he's playing for France. Umtiti is playing right next to him, and he's very vocal. But Varane just got exposed, like he said, exposed in the terms that he didn't have the same leadership, and he couldn't make the decisions. Not sure what he was doing on the first ball, trying to go towards Courtois to give him a pass, knowing Courtois is a whole different person with the ball on his feet. He freaks out, he makes the mistakes, and he did make those mistakes. He gave the ball to Foden right in front of his box. I'm not sure what Varane was thinking. And same with the header back to his keeper. He could have headed it outwards.
Schoolboy errors.
To go towards his keeper.
It's really poor.
Yeah, but even Madrid going forward, they didn't look very threatening, apart from some solo efforts from Karim Benzema. Hazard for me was missing.
Oh, Hazard was gone. There was no Hazard.
He's been missing since he hit the buffet in the summer, right?
Yeah, overweight. Can't dribble past anyone. Can't make a good pass. He's just there on the wing to provide with.
The injuries haven't helped either. I think he's had about 3 or 4 ankle injuries this season alone.
Yeah.
He's missed a lot of matches for them. Similar to Gareth Bale, who over the course of his time at Real Madrid, although he's been, proven to get the goals and help win trophies. I think 4 Champions Leagues in his time, but his ankle injuries and a pesky calf injury have kept him out for, I think, well over 70 games now in his entire time there. So that's more or less 2 seasons.
I think this was mainly, it comes down to Zidane. He took players that were not even eligible to play on the field into his squad rather than taking Gareth Bale. I think Gareth Bale coming off as a sub can make a world of difference with his pace.
But don't you think, Trisha, I know you have your own opinions about Real Madrid being a Barcelona fan.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Don't you think that Gareth Bale is the sort of player, the caliber of footballer that should be starting these matches in the Champions League?
I think he is, but how the Spanish media has painted him is pretty awful. Saying that he doesn't attend any team dinners. Well, they're having dinners at 12 in the morning. Well, Gareth Bale goes to sleep at 10 p.m. He's a footballer, and like Messi sleeps 16 hours a day, which is insane. Gareth Bale gets his rest. He shows up to training. He does the work. He's not starting because the manager doesn't want him to start.
Has he learned Spanish yet?
He hasn't. I think going from Welsh to Spanish, I think that's a very, very difficult task. I don't think he would ever be able to. I wouldn't say
tell
ever,
that to David Beckham. Yeah, he's from Essex and he speaks Spanish.
Oh yeah,
I think I think it's kind of understated in the modern game how important center back partnerships are. It's not down to one defender. I think when for the example, for the sake of our Premier League listeners and Liverpool fans, I don't know if we have many, but Virgil van Dijk, who's arguably the best center back in world football right now, he completely changed Liverpool. Like the evolution of the team when Van Dijk and then Alisson thereafter in goal, when they came in, it completely changed the way they go about their entire game. It gave them a foundation upon which they can launch their expansive gegenpressing, high press counter-attacking style. And he's improved every center back he's worked with, the likes of Lovren and I think it's Joel Matip. He's made both of them look 10 times the players they were before they came. I mean, Trishal will know well that I used to call that Liverpool backline prior to Van Dijk just a bunch of circus clowns. But as soon as he came in, they looked like a proper, European side. And credit them, they won the league.
Yeah, I think they had Skrull in the back.
I mean, Martial retired him, but center back partnerships are much more important to focus on than just individual defenders, because anyone can make a mistake, and the life of a defender or goalkeeper is that one mistake can cost you everything.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, there are famous CB partnerships. Like, for example, sometimes Bonucci messes up when he does not play next to Collini.
Puyol and Piqué. Well, before that, it was Rafa Marquez, who was absolutely brilliant. One of
Mexican
the
legend.
best Mexican players out there. Yeah. And Piqué was a little young. But
We had Samuel.
did really well. Yeah.
Samuel and Lucio, right?
Samuel and Lucio, and before Conte, we had Dufray and
Yeah,
Skriniar. Like, nothing could pass them. They were like the wall of Italy. But yeah, he changed now. But Lucio and Samuel were
They were
like the
there for
legends
a long period, similar to Rio and Vidic. What about you, Sibi? Who has any famous center back partnerships at Arsenal?
Mustafi Luiz. No, but I wouldn't say
Both of them are
I wouldn't take this
legends.
game as saying Varane is finished, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
of course
even top defenders like Van Dijk have made mistakes. We've seen in recent games as well. Like, he can be suspect at times. Like, he can't switch off. But that's just down to focus. Like, I think I wouldn't blame this loss completely on Varane. I would blame it as well, like on their efforts moving forward, because they didn't really create enough.
Knowing City as a high pressing attacking team, they couldn't get past their midfield at times. And Modric, I think, was the one key player that couldn't make anything happen. Misplaced a lot of passes. Just gave it right to them.
Ballon d'Or went to his head, mate.
Yeah. Well, he is, I think, 35 now, right?
Yeah, he's in the kind of latter stages of his career, I think.
Yeah, I mean, even after City got that second goal, like, there was this kind of like 10-minute window, 15-minute window towards the end of the game where it looked like how City plays against these lower table teams, where they're just passing around them for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If you couldn't see the top left corner of the screen, you wouldn't think they were playing Madrid.
Yeah, I think also the importance of the match for Varane, and he went out and he took all the blame for himself, which is not going to be good if like Real Madrid or the coaches make a statement in a way where it's a team's effort. Because with Liverpool's goalkeeper Karius,
Yeah, Karius.
Karius,
Yeah.
whatever it's called. Yeah, it really hit him hard because it was a final. Now looking at who you're playing against, you're not playing against Lyon or any team that would kick you out of the UCL. You're playing against Manchester City. You're
Top
playing
team.
against Guardiola. You're not playing against an easy team. You didn't screw up against an easy team at a final or at a semi-final. He took all the blame in. I think it's something he would get over and he will come back to shine because I personally think he's a good player. But as they say, like one mistake from someone who's good or expected is usually pointed out or targeted. Like if Ronaldo is missing for one day, everyone's attacking him. If he was no one even noticed him. The lots of pressure will happen, but I think it won't affect his performance in the next season.
Let's hope not. I think a player like Rafa Varane's not quite at the level of Sergio Ramos, but certainly close to it. And following in his example, he's earned his credit. Like he's won 4 Champions Leagues at Real Madrid. He's a World Cup winner with France. He's won the big prizes, and he knows how to cope with the pressure. He knows how to kind of bounce back from a big mistake like this. And I certainly agree with Sibi's point that you win as a team, you lose as a team, and you draw as a team. I don't think Varane's mistakes, although they were significant, I don't think he's solely to blame for Real Madrid crashing out of the Champions League. I think there's a bigger kind of picture, and there's a lot of problems in that picture that Zidane will have to address. So
I agree.
one point I wanted to make was in relation to Real Madrid. They're now kind of suffering from this hangover period of life after Ronaldo. I know they won the league this season, albeit it was quite a close title race until the very final weeks. But Trishal, as a Barcelona fan, how do you feel about Real Madrid's transition following Cristiano's departure? And Amro, if you could weigh in as well, as your club have acquired his services. And Trish, how do you feel Barcelona will kind of continue their challenge to remain at the very top of Spanish football?
I think Barcelona had a great chance to overtake. I mean, they've overtaken Real Madrid in the terms of classical wins and things like that domestically. And the trophies they've won in the last 10, 15 years. The problem with Barcelona's current board is that when we see Real Madrid, they're getting weaker, they're getting older, they're getting tireder. They just lost Cristiano Ronaldo. Instead of bolstering our squad, we're making more of a political decision of, he said about Arthur going, it was a political move. It was to balance the financial book so we could get out of the FFP rule and go into summer with a different budget. And those are all loans. So I think Barcelona are just kicking themselves in the shin and waiting around for Messi to do something.
Interesting.
So acquiring Ronaldo was a step that Juventus needed because Juventus under Massimiliano Allegri reached 2 Champions League finals, and one time we lost against a prime Barca, and one time we lost against a prime Real Madrid. Back then I used to hate them, but when the guy plays for you, there is no chance not to love him. He gives everything he can in the game. He has a winning mentality that is contagious. He brought us a lot of exposure. I mean, on Instagram, how many followers does he have? I think 100 million. He put us back on the map with the 5 big clubs that are constantly competing to win the Champions League.
And moving, kind of building on that point, Trish, do you think that this rise with the performances of Juventus up until yesterday's match in Europe, their performance in the league, their new era under Andrea Pirlo, and also Antonio Conte's reign at Inter Milan, do you feel we're seeing a rise in the kind of pedigree and level of Italian football once again after there are many kind of years of a little bit of a quiet period? And do you think this could more or less be Italian football taking the mantle over from Spanish football, who's going through a new transition into rebuilding?
I definitely think so, but I don't think it will be that soon of a time where they can take over from Spanish teams, only because when it was part of the plan, and I'm not going to blabber on about it. Germany did the same thing with their teams. where they went into the first, second, and third division and said, hey, our goal as a country is to win the World Cup. They developed a national football plan, something that the USA lacks. Spain has the same system with all the youth system. All these players, they compete at Olympic levels. They compete at Youth World Cups, Champions League. They come onto their second division, first division. These players are built into the Spanish culture and the Spanish team. If you notice, the national team is built up of maybe one Valencia player that shows up. Rest is all Real Madrid and Barcelona. And that youth system, I think it'll be very hard for another Italian league or the Bundesliga to come in and take the mantle. I think English teams are doing really well now in comparison to Spanish team, but I think it'll be tough for Italian teams.
Do you think that could be down to the commercial appeal? And this is also open to both Amro and Samara. How do you feel the global appeal of Italian football is being affected by teams such as the modern Inter and Juventus kind of performing at the top level? Do you think that Italian football as a whole on a world level is going to get more popular as a result of this?
I think so. I think what hurt Italian league mainly is all the corruption and scandals with FIFA and internally in their country. That hurt them a lot, and their respect. I think the last great team I remember watching was AC Milan, playing well into the Champions League. Inter Milan with Jose Mourinho. But other than that, they kind of died off, and that was back in 2009, 10 kind of year. And after the last 10 years have been kind of nothing.
Yes, talking about the performance or what Europe is seeing from Italy every time we participate in Champions League or even Europa League, always leaving, as Trish was saying, in the last 7 to 8 years, not even reaching the finals except Juventus. In Europa League, no one's showing up. We even lost seats in terms of how many teams qualify to the UCL. I think the main problem is the level or the winning and the number of goals, I would say, in every match affects the performance of the players when they go to play in Europe. And we play in a league where most matches end 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, except the 7-0 sudden matches that happen. Then you go to Europe where you're playing teams that are much more competitive in terms of what's happening in their leagues. Yani, if Inter is losing against Eintracht, struggling against BVB, even though BVB is a very big team, but if you see the match, it was flipped over in 45 minutes where Inter lost everything.
Right.
Where they did not need to even struggle. Why does that happen? Because in Italy we play 60 minutes. If it's a tie, we'll just play harder for the next 30 minutes. We'll score. Or vice versa. Someone scores a goal and then they close the entire match, 11 people in the 18 box. Whether they're Crotone, Spal, even Inter does that. Many teams. You score, you build in the Italian tradition. I'm just going to lock the door, park the bus.
Yeah.
Have my energy till the end.
Catenaccio, yeah.
But if I play hard for 90 minutes, and you look at the Premier League, it's crazy. Like you have Wolves, you have Southampton, you have Crystal Palace. You need to always play your full. And Inter, Spal comes in, scores, or in the Serie A, Spal comes in, scores a goal, and then the match is over in terms of excitement for fans, for players. But then you go to Champions League, you're playing with monsters in terms of what they want to do to you. And it's always big goals. We're going to keep fighting. You see matches ending 7-1 where Italian teams are involved. So it's an embarrassing position where you are. But I agree with Trish again that things are getting much better for the Italian league and they will get better. Our only hope is now Atlanta, Inter, to see what will happen.
Do you think
Juventus,
go on. I'll let you finish your point.
I was just saying Juventus got us lots of points in the last few years, reaching finals.
Yeah.
But then that's not enough. It's a country's goal to become more competitive, to provide better environment for the players, tactics, bringing good coaches, bringing super players to have attention to us, etc.
I was going to say it's certainly not a tactical adaptability issue, because I think even Mourinho said after his time with Inter Milan that in Italian football, it's the one league where you will see teams adjust and rotate their formation maybe 3 to 4 times within one 90-minute match. You're adjusting based on the opposition. There is definitely a much more pragmatic approach to the game tactically in regards to your shape, your personnel, and even the formation in the final third with and without the ball. You're adjusting to kind of nullify your opponent's threats. And that's something that I think as a United fan, I saw Louis van Gaal attempt in many ways during his reign at Manchester United, and he failed. He failed because, interestingly enough, in the Premier League and in English football as a whole, I think, from my personal humble opinion, that you can't quite control the football the same way you can in leagues such as Serie A or La Liga or even arguably Bundesliga. I think that unpredictability is probably that one exciting factor that sets the Premier League apart in terms of a global audience. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a good point as well, which is the gold mine per se. You know, like in the Premier League, the team that gets promoted gets 160 million pounds, and that money's going to go back into the club naturally. So that's kind of why in the Premier League we've seen this now like transition between top 4 clubs becoming a top 6, and now we're looking at a top 8 potentially. You know, as these clubs are getting promoted, are putting all their money back into their academies, into the transfer market, into coaching, and that's really like helping build the club and make them more competitive. You know.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. There's significant money now in the Premier League, and I think it's evident with the way Wolves have been performing. They've featured in Europe now, and they're looking quite a force. But moving into Europe, the Champions League, where we're going to see Bayern Munich, who have drawn up against Barcelona. Trish, how are you feeling? Are you feeling confident going into this game against Bayern?
No, not so much. I can say that Bayern Munich is a great team, but Barcelona have had a lot of trouble, especially playing against teams that are very fast and they know how to pressure. We're missing that midfield that we used to have with Xavi and Iniesta, even with Rakitic and Iniesta. I don't think Rakitic is Barcelona quality. De Jong has been picking up his slack. We're missing Busquets today, but we did well with Sergio Roberto. Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. I don't think it'll be a slap around like Chelsea got, but it'll be good to see. It'll be a close game. You can never not count on Messi.
Score prediction?
Score prediction, I think I'm going to go with the 1-1 away from home. And it's all up to Camp Nou. See what Messi does at home.
It's a one-leg fixture, Trish.
Oh, you're right. In that term, I'm gonna say I can see Barcelona going through, but I can also see Barcelona not going through. It's really in their hands.
That's a non-answer. You have to pick one.
I can't tell you, man. It's so hard to say because Barcelona are the only ones that kick themselves. If they want to win, they can. If they don't want to win, they can't. I'm gonna go with optimistically a 2-0 win for Barcelona.
So basically, you don't know which Barcelona will show up on the day.
Yeah, that's what it is. Suarez is the same thing as having a Hazard. He's big. He can't run. He can barely pass. He's just there.
Bit harsh, but yeah, I see your point.
No,
he's not what he used to be.
He can't make a 10-yard pass. That's embarrassing. I don't know how he's starting. He can't fit into MLS. Griezmann, same thing. Board bought him for some reason. I don't think he fits into Barcelona, but he does what Setien has been asking him to do. That is covering the midfield in a flat 4-4. Other than that, I'm disappointed with Rakitic, but I'm hoping that Ricky Puig, our young midfielder, plays because it reminds me of how Xavi plays.
Interesting. And over to Atalanta, who play Paris. I'm going to have predictions from both of you Serie A representatives. Amro, what do you think?
I do wish Atlanta all the best of luck to compete against PSG, but I think PSG, since they played a lot in the Champions League before, they have the experience to pass to the next stage.
I mean, the latest struggle with Atlanta is I think their goalkeeper is not playing for this match. So I was very optimistic that Atlanta's superheroes that came out of nowhere, scored around 95 goals, I think, this year.
Yeah.
Only in Serie A. I'd be on the Serie A side.
I like that.
Atlanta.
Sticking with your league, the last representative
Yeah.
in Europe.
Except Juve.
And over to the other fixture with RB Leipzig taking on Atletico Madrid. Trish, you're well aware of Madrid and their run in both La Liga and Europe. How do you feel they're going to go into this tie?
I've actually been watching Leipzig as well. Since Timo Werner is not playing, it's a little bit tough. The way Simeone sets up his team, they're very defensive, and they attack on the counter. And when you have players like, they have a lot of players that have aged into that system, and they've gotten into their 30s playing the same system. They're a formidable side to play against. Like we talked about Italian leagues, I think the score with Atletico will always be close to a 1-0 or maybe a tie going into extra time. But I won't discount Atlanta in the other game and RB Leipzig on this one.
So who's your money on for Leipzig and Madrid?
I will always go for the attacking team, the team that attacks well, plays well. I'll go for RB Leipzig to beat Atletico Madrid.
Interesting. And Sib, over to you with City and Lyon.
Well, I mean, you made a point, Z, about sticking with your league in this competition. I don't know if you're going to be backing Man City, but I think it's clear cut. I don't think we're going to see Lyon in the later stages of this competition. I think City are just too good, and I think this time they really, really want it.
Just because you said that, we're going to clip this up and upload it when Memphis Depay scores a hat trick to knock City out.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll do it. I'll be the one cutting it up anyway.
Yeah. So interesting predictions there, and it's going to be really exciting going into the quarterfinal this year. Honestly, I think the favorites have favorable ties going into the quarterfinal, except for that massive clash between Barcelona and Bayern Munich, which is going to be the one to watch, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Could be good enough to be a final in any other season, but thankfully one of them will not be winning. Over to the Europa League, guys, with Inter facing Bayer Leverkusen with an in-form Kai Havertz. How are you feeling about this one, Samara?
I think it's going to be a game in our hand. I think the players are they're showing that they're playing much harder than Serie A, I think, because it's renewal time. Many of them are concerned about their job, and I'm seeing all of them are playing so well except Gagliardini, who's still struggling, and he was not the best player in the last match against Getafe. I believe our biggest challenge would be who is going to be on the other side of the final once we reach it.
I think I'm going to say the way Inter Milan played against Getafe, I think they will struggle against playing Leverkusen, because they're a very, very good side. And German teams always end up causing issues for Italian teams.
Traditionally,
especially Inter.
Yeah, especially Inter.
The history does put question marks on Inter's chances. Over to Shakhtar versus Basel. I know Siba is a closeted Basel fan. How are you feeling about this tie?
Who told you that? No, I watched Shakhtar's game against. Who did they play?
Yeah, you clearly watched it.
It was a forgettable team, honestly. But no, man, they look good. They've got good players in Marlos from Brazil, I think. Very attacking team. They didn't look as clinical in the final third, but I think honestly they can cut into Basel.
It was Wolfsburg, by the way, from Germany.
Wolfsburg, yeah. It was a very tight game to begin with, but honestly, once Shakhtar broke them down, they can see the next two goals within like the space of 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was very quick succession.
Yeah, so if they can do that again against Basel, like no doubt they're going through.
And Trish, I'm going to ask you about this because you're a massive fan of Nuno Espirito Santo and his Wolves side, but you are also quite knowledgeable about Sevilla, both domestically and their record in the Europa League, especially with 5 record wins. How do you feel about this big game in the quarterfinal between Wolves and Sevilla?
I think Wolves and Sevilla is going to be a game to watch. Inter Leverkusen and Sevilla game will be one of the best ones. I'm going to say the way Nuno has been playing with his team and the way he sets up, he sets up with a Spanish mindset, and he's doing the same thing Pep Guardiola has been trying to do in the Premier League. I think it'll be a good game, and Jimenez has been doing well, and I can't say that much for Sevilla going up front and scoring the goals because they're mainly a 4-3-3 side with not a permanent striker. They play how Barcelona used to play with the false nine. I think Wolves have a chance.
Interesting. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to
it's going. Yeah. Adama Traore and the Johnson. It's going to be
Adama knows.
It's going to be an interesting match. And then Manchester United versus Denmark's Copenhagen. That's going to be.
I think Manchester.
Go on.
They already won the game.
No. I really disagree. I think we're due a wake up call if we are to progress to the semifinal. I think Solskjaer clearly wants a trophy this season to finish things off. We've never actually qualified for Champions League and won a trophy in the same season after Sir Alex Ferguson retired. So this is our chance for a first as a club. I think we can't play the side that we played against Lask in that second leg. He rested many players because of the congested fixtures list after the coronavirus lockdown ended. And I think it's high time that we see our strongest side play against Copenhagen, considering the fact that it's not a home and away leg. It's a one-off game. I think we need to put them to the sword and really, really play with our strongest side and win this game.
I think they will.
Because we plan on meeting Inter Milan in the final, if everything goes the right way.
Looking forward. I think it's gonna be awkward with the players. Like you have Lukaku,
Alexis,
Young, and Sanchez there. They're like, which, what do we do?
I think it'll make it interesting if we do get that game. And the only way we can face Inter in the Europa League this season is in the final, because we're on two opposite sides of the tree.
Yes.
So I guess that's it for today or tonight. Thanks again to our lovely guests, Trishal, Amro, and Samara. Once again, you can follow them on their socials. Amro is at Amro Insta on Instagram. Samara also on Instagram at Ahmed Samara. And Trishal at Trishal Varma on Instagram, as well as his Twitter at FCBarcelona.org. Perfect. So guys, make sure you follow them. Stay up to date on what's happening in those clubs.
And you can find us on social media as well. We're on Twitter at AC_managers, as well as Instagram at Armchair Managers. And if you want to follow our podcast, you can find us on Spotify, Anchor.fm, as well as YouTube. Just search for the Armchair Managers podcast.
And that's it for the Armchair Managers. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Nice to meet everyone.
Have
a good day.
Have a good night.